There have been a lot of questions going through my head, like, I don't know if Jeff is a good person, speaking to people the right way. I don't know if he should be swearing. I don't know how comfortable I feel being part of a group that says we want to love people, but the way that I love them is abusing them. It just seemed like when I was having these media meetings, even if it wasn't Jeff and Shaleia speaking, they were using the same words. It felt like they were recreating Jeff and Shaleia and somebody else. And I was like, people are losing their autonomy. I don't hate Jeff. I think Jeff, in his own way, has many loving qualities, but he also has many hateful ones. And it's that duality that he won't accept, that yes, there is fear in the world and there is also love. And is it a choice? It isn't, and choosing either does not make you a terrible person. It makes you a human being. Maybe he does believe, and maybe I am the wrong one, but there's no wrong or right, and they're not wrong. No one's wrong. The main point is that there are many truths to this story. It's not just your truth, Jeff and Shaleia. You are not the truth carriers of all life. You are not them, and it's so problematic. I felt disgusted. I cried actually at one of the videos that someone sent me about what they're doing to same-sex couples and sort of saying to people that they are the divine masculine. People are cutting their hair. I cried because I just felt like if you place in your life, you don't have good relationships with your family, you don't have good relationships with your friends, and you come into the spiritual group and you think that these people love you because it's the most love you've ever seen in your life. And of course it would be like that because you're a victim of trauma. And these people are saying they love you. And then they're also then saying, oh, I've received a message, you're a man. You don't want to believe that they're wrong because that's the only love you have right now. Your brain is set to help you survive. And your brain will automatically think, if I reject this, who do I have? And that's what's going to automatically, it wants you to survive the longest. And the longest that we survive is in groups of people. It's just science, right? And so if you know that back there means more trauma, more, you're like, maybe I am a man, maybe I am. And maybe I need to feel into that. Because if you're told with enough convincing evidence, if someone was to say to me, oh, Lorraine, you're very outspoken, you make quick decisions, you seem very in control, you're a masculine energy. If I was told that enough times, I'd eventually be like, oh, you know what, maybe, if my friends and family, the people closest to me, the people I trust were telling me that constantly, there would be a point where I'm going to start to doubt my own sense of self. I'm going to doubt. And if the only, people I hear are from this community who, of course, agree with Jeff, who, of course, think that I'm a man, that's exactly what I'm going to turn into. It's conditioning, is it not? It's conditioning in everything of being told, think like this, and then you will. And yes, it's not a quick thing that happens whatever. It's done over centuries until we have whole groups of people hating each other. And that's the whole, it didn't sit well with me at all. Especially when they are openly saying to themselves, I didn't know this, and now I'm coming into it. That's a good decide to have. It's not, someone shouldn't tell you, hey, you're a man, or hey, you're gay, or hey, you're lesbian. No, you decide that. That is your choice of when you want to come out, or that's. And this is the thing though, if at any point you decide that the way your body looks doesn't suit you, that is still your choice. That's the thing that needs to be put out here, that it needs to be the person's choice. And, you know, new twin flames are being confirmed. That's when I just sort of felt like, what? Because he confirmed somebody else, and now he's confirming new people and saying, oh, if God told you it was your twin flame, he has a justification for every awful thing that he does. You know, we couldn't tell you straight away, because if God had told you straight away, you know, the journey wouldn't have been as beautiful. It wouldn't have been as... Yes, because being able to speak out is a freeing, it's a liberation, right? Because if that's truly who you are inside, it's freeing. It's, you know, if you're crying during, you are not enjoying that. Why is it painful if that's the truth? The truth is not painful, it sets you free. And it's only painful if it's not your truth. I don't, you know, I'm not, I've never been in that experience myself. I know everyone says this, but my closest friends belong to the LGBTQ community. So I understand what that experience is like, and I empathize, because these are people I really care for. And so I just kept putting myself in the position of, if that was one of my friends, if that was someone I cared for and they were being forced to do this, I'd tell them to go, because anyway, but that's the choice they have. Because if this is the thing, if they reject that and say, no, I'm not a man, they're out the group, you know, or they're choosing separation, or you're not accepting your true self. It's like, and they say Jeff doesn't force anyone. Jeff does this very clever thing. It's a psychological tactic of asking very leading questions that only lead you to one answer. Do you want to experience love? Who's going to say no? You're going to say yes. And actually, it's called, I forgot what it is. It's a psychological tactic. Say yes to you 10 times, they will likely agree with the next thing you say. I know this because I did marketing, right? So people buy the people, they don't buy into the product, they buy into the people. So if I want to be a pastor, you know, I'll have my own church by Sunday. All I need to do is look at people with stern confidence and be like, God has some news for you today. Do you want to accept God into your life? I can tell you want God's love. I've got it. You know, you do it with enough confidence, you do it with enough charisma. You're like, and Jeff does this very, very good thing. I like it. The way he stares into the distance. I don't care if you want to accept your twin flame or not. It doesn't bother me. But I know you do. And I want to give you your twin flame, because I've got my twin flame. I've got my mansion. I've got my beautiful car, my beautiful dog. I don't care if you wanna I've got it. And it's just like, do you not see yourself? Do you not see it's all very short pauses? And the way I watch it. Jeff, I watch all of your stuff. I think you're hilarious. You should be a comedian. I'm not a hater. I do love you. I love you, Jeff. I want you to know that. I love you a lot as a human being. I hope you carry on posting. It brings me great joy to sit myself down in this isolation and enjoy your ever 50-minute videos. I love seeing your pool. I love seeing your gates. I love seeing the dream that you have manifested. It's great. It's amazing. And I'm not a hater. I'm a lover of all people in Christ. It's just an interesting reality that you live in, Jeff. It's just, and if people watch his videos closely, he shades Shaleia. Shaleia will go on a tangent and he'll just look to the side and then return back to what he'll say. So I don't know if people have noticed this, but Shaleia doesn't speak as much as Jeff in some of the videos, you know. And I thought to be, yeah, she's very quiet. And yeah, and Shaleia says, you know, it doesn't feel good. It feels actually quite good to support him and blah blah blah. I don't know what mirror exercise they did to fix that in her. But you know, when she does come out, Shaleia has a very silly sense of humor, and I think it's quite what's the word? Charming in a way. like silly humor, silly, like immature humor. And I'm not saying that as a bad thing. It does have that. And when I was watching a church of youth, sermo, whatever they call them, and Shaleia started laughing to herself, and Jeff sort of looks at her and he's like, "Hmm, so as we were saying, it's about the message. It's not about all of this money. No, it's about." And it's the weird sort of snaps where he goes out of character, where it's just like calm, 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 calm again, calm again, calm again. I'm not a hater. I'm not a cult leader. I just want to give you a harmonious twin flame union, and if you want it, I've got it. It's very like yeah, watch some of his latest videos and tell me that you think that that is not a man who's slowly unhinging somewhere, unhinging. Um, and the way that he describes himself, I think for one of the videos he was talking about gaming, and he's saying, "Oh, so Shaleia and I, we're on this game site, and we play with other people, and of course, the discussion of money came up, and they know we're millionaires, and I mean, a couple of people aren't comfortable with that, and like." How many times does he have to say that in a video that he's a millionaire? Like, what are you trying to prove at this point? You know, I, if your thing works, if your thing is true, let your program speak for itself. If the haters aren't true, if we're just lying, if all we want to do is tear you down, then don't speak. Your harmonious twin flame unions, your business will grow. We will just be silent because clearly what we're seeing isn't a reality that's true. So it's like when someone tells you something that is just not true, it doesn't even hit you. It doesn't hit you because you're just like, that's ridiculous. Someone was to say to me, you're an ugly person. I have a lot of self-confidence. So if someone was to say that to me, I just be like, well, I don't think that anywhere in myself. I think I'm a beautiful person. So that's a weird comment. I wouldn't make a video saying, if anyone has ever called you ugly, I don't think I'm ugly. But if anyone has called you ugly, I just want to tell you how to deal with that person. I don't care about it, but like, if you care about it, like I want to help you. This is you. No one is gaslighting you. No one is gaslighting you. Just stop. Just stop, babe. No one is gaslighting you. Gaslighting isn't real, dude. It's not real. Mirror exercise that yourself, Jeff. Where are you gaslighting yourself? Where are you hating yourself, Jeff? Being a hater isn't real. And if people are saying you have a twin flame cult, is there a part of you that has a twin flame cult inside of you? Mirror that, Jeff. It keeps happening because anytime anything was happening in our realities, it would be like you manifested that. There was one of the guys that I actually brought into the group who I thought would be my twin flame. He found out his dad had cancer at the time, and I don't know if he'll tell his story or not, but he found that out, and not Jeff Fisher, one of the coaches actually said that he manifested that, and I just thought, hang on a minute. Like I understand we are working on a 5D metaphysical spiritual level, but there is also free will going on here. Can his dad not have manifested his own cancer? Could that not have happened? Alex is just experiencing this. Why does it have to be Alex's responsibility? And this is when I realized their coaches weren't coached properly. And the way that I was being coached wasn't it wasn't real actual coaching or actual certification. And so when Jeff is talking about the high caliber specialized coaches, these are just normal human beings that have been put through a process of shown how to repeat the same sort of thing. These are not have been versed in how to deal with real life situations of trauma. Because if that was true, they would not be in a twin flame group. So think about it before you pay however much to a spray. You're not trained properly. They don't understand your feelings and your trauma to that level, to that degree. And if your map testimonials are a girl is not allergic to a cat anymore, that's not going to help my childhood abuse. Testimonials like, oh, Jeff just it was, a cat scratched me and the cat was just trying to show me love. What? If someone beats me in the middle of the street and I was to go to these coaches and say, I was beaten to the street, where are you beating yourself? Excuse me? No, that's not okay. And I want to finish on this last thing and then I'll open myself up to any questions you have. I just want to say that I did not damage my life, share the same sort of reality of like shutting loads of people out of my life. I didn't do that. I still have all the people I started with. Well, not all of the people, you grow as a person and change and whatever. And I'm still in contact with both of the people that I thought were my supposed twin flames. It didn't end in a terrible thing where anyone had to block me. I don't have any restraining orders. And I'm still living my life. I don't hate Jeff and Shaleia. I wish them all a wealth of love and happiness. And if they are genuinely preaching God's word and are genuinely wanting to bring out peace and love, then that will obviously be revealed in time. That's okay. So I'm really doing this for anyone who is unsure, like in the group, about whether or not they should stay. Or someone who's considering purchasing. And there is nothing wrong with purchasing the videos, but the problem is when you get deep into the group and you go higher up into the work, you realize that the only option you have is to become a follower of TFAS or leave the group. They make it very difficult anything else happening outside of your life, that they exhibit cult-like tendencies. The cult-like tendencies of having the one leader who's charismatic, who's funny, who's whatever, and Jeff's argument of cults, you don't have online cults. Jeff, yes you do. Yes you do. Scientology is a cult. That's online. Of course, you can have a cult online if most of you are spending most of their time online posting on your forum in discussion groups. That is completely possible. And the whole idea of the cult is basically that someone else is in control of your life. And to say, oh, you just don't want to be taken advantage of, Jeff, you understand the people, if they are pushed, will eventually submit. You know that. If you keep pushing someone like, this is what you want, this is what you want, you're rejecting it, and then you make everybody else, and you tell all of the people in the group, hey, this person accept their true self as a masculine energy, help this whatever. Because when you see it on the open forum, it's like, Jeff guided me to speak to blah 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 and say that he was a divine feminine, and then Jeff messaged me, Jeff came to me in a dream, Jeff came to me, and then you want to absorb more responsibility before you a coach. You want people to claim you as a spiritual guru, but then when they're saying, you made me go down this path, you want to say, I'm not in charge. Excuse me? You can't ask people to claim you as your spiritual guru, because what you're doing in that relationship is saying, you can trust parts of the path I know that you don't. So I can lead you through your path. And the person is well within their rights that they go down the path that you suggested, they come back to you. You led me the wrong way. You cannot say, excuse control, you moved your legs. Well, I wouldn't have done had you not told me what you did. So you have to take accountability. That's all we want, Jeff. Accountability. The way you say to someone, I'm a spiritual guru. Accountability, and that when you say to someone, I'm your spiritual guru, that you are trusting them and they are trusting you with their spiritual path. There is an exchange of trust. It's like when you go to a psychologist or a therapist, you're saying, you know the world of psychology and human brains better than I do. So I'm trusting the advice you give me, the questions are leading me to a more feeling confident within myself, not becoming more dependent on you, right? I don't feel that I can't do this without you. Because if you asked all of these people, what would you do without Jeff and Shaleia, probably they'd panic because they don't know what life outside Jeff and Shaleia would be like. Because that's the life that they are thinking is the only life they need. And that's okay, you know. It makes you feel very important to be told you are bringing God his one true flame, twin flame, which is the world. That's a very good thing to put on a banner, on a logo, the back of your car. Like, they're passing out merchandise, they've got speakers, you know. I never spoke to anyone in the group. Like, I never individually messaged anybody. The only person I messaged was Summer. So everybody else seemed to message me from seeing me on the group. And so it would start off pretty normal conversation. And then it would somehow go into like, oh, how are you feeling? I'm like, oh yeah, I dealt with this block, so having upheaval today or whatever. And then it'd be like, have you looked at Jeff? Actually, do you have their romance attraction? I was like, oh, no, I don't. Oh, look at their romance attraction. I'm thinking, what? The class is not enough. I haven't even gotten through the classes yet. And you're telling me I need to buy the romance attraction. I was like, what? Yes, exactly. Everyone just turned into like a weird sales. Like wherever I went, it just seemed like something. And I was already investing. How much was I investing a month? It was like £250 a month on subscriptions, and that was going to be for a year. And so I was just like, you know, this is already. I was a student at the time. I was like, this is not the sort of thing that I would normally do, and I'm doing this for good reasons or whatever. But yeah, and then the coaches would come and approach me, offer me their sacred reading or their past souls, energy reading and channeled reading, and I purchased one from Christina just to see, you know, what is this about these readings that are going to. I read them. I was like, I could have read my own tarot cards and done this for free. You know, what you're talking about and the testimonials you're talking about is if I'm going to read something that's going to absolutely mind, you know, and I wouldn't have known this before without your reading, and it's not, you know, it's basic common sense, some of these things. It's like, if I look at a card that says this, oh, it's saying that you're in separation right now, what can I add? Definitely is what book of teaching to add this, make this seem more sacred twin flame reading. Like, look at this twin flame painting. That is just a flame, dude. That is just a flame on a page. And you can call anything a twin flame sign, anything. And if yeah, so they came to me and my spoke to me, and that was another mechanism to kind of keep me more in the group. And one thing I want people to understand is that the world has this thing called confirmation bias, which is when you are looking for a particular or focused on that sign. So you are going to the things that you wouldn't normally notice because your brain can't take everything in on a conscious level all of the time. So exactly. So you become so focused on whatever it is. You know, God is going to show me a daisy if I don't know. Debbie is my twin flame. So you're now looking everywhere. Yellow daisy. Oh God! I was walking and I saw a car, and there it was, a field of yellow daisies, and you're thinking, "Wow, that must have been God or Jesus." I was, you know, I was a complete victim to this, and that's when I started realizing that I could just think. I decided to think pink grapefruit that day. So be it. I wrote, and it is the power of manifestation. That's true. But they are taking advantage of all, you know, spiritual laws that already exist and make it seem like they're their own. Yes, there was. I think that was gonna end like, because me and George were specifically invited by Jeff to like come to Canada. And so because we were, an up and coming twin flame couple, and we did buy the ticket to Canada, but before that, George himself was not feeling good about it. And I was just like, I don't agree with going all the way to Canada, paying all of that money to spend 2 days. And it was weird because, people traveling thousands and thousands of miles, and they actually put in the group, Shaleia and I will only spend time with you during the workshop, and then after that, we are going. We are not going to spend any more time with people. That's it. What? We're coming here to have. It would have made more sense for me if they'd hired some sort of big villa or some big house somewhere where we could have sort of private workshops and people could all stay together. If we had sort of rough it and sleeping bags and whatever to make the price. But it just seemed like a lot of. Why were they in a hotel for? Why did they hire that space? If people were just going to sit in chairs and they were basically going to do what they always do. I felt like I was glad that all I lost was the ticket money because I would have had to pay a flight, a visa, hotel, so much more. So yeah, I mean, I think after if I'd gone to Canada, I probably would have been introduced because I was already speaking. Other frame sort of couples who'd reached harmonious union had now started messaging me. So I could tell that they were trying to sort of pull me up there and at the beginning I thought this was a positive sign of, oh, I must be close if, I'm getting messages, blah, blah, blah. I just thought it was, a tactic to kind of, because I didn't really feel any different. Harmonious twin flame union and all of that, it didn't, um, yeah, I agree with you on that they began censoring their forum and sort of making sure that people didn't post things that came from other schools of thought or that went against their teaching. And fair enough, they have a brand to protect. When it came to speaking to other people, there was, who was it? I think it was Yvonne who runs sort of Twin Flames Dutch or Germany or Europe or whatever. Huh? Beck, I think, Yvonne. I think so. Um, I'm in a different country, so your legal rules don't apply to me. I'm going to say every name I want. Um, so Yvonne, or Yvonne, I don't know her name. So he, and Jeff, she was saying something. It was on a post. She was commenting on a post saying, what, I don't agree with what you did. And Jeff says, this is why we're still disciplining you. And this is why you haven't got a twin flame, blah, blah, blah. And, someone actually, this was on the open forum. This was a while ago. Someone from the open forum actually saw it. And Jeff, why do you speak to people like this? And Jeff said, because they have given us permission. We have, this is our spiritual relationship with them, and they understand what is happening.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. This concludes the end of part 3 of the interview. There should be either 1 or 2 more parts coming up to round out this interview that I had with Ray. The next few videos that will be coming up will be the gaslighting video that I did with another person, so it'll be like a gaslighter video part 2. And then after that, I do have another story that I want to share. Someone sent me an email with their story, so I'll be reading that off to you guys. So there will be that story coming up as well. And then after that, we will finally, after months of planning, get into the bite model and the details of that and how it relates to Twin Flames Universe and how Jeff and Shaleia run their groups, etc. So I do thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys are enjoying this, and I will talk to you guys later. Peace out.